Section 5 of Hero and Leander. This recording is in the public domain. Recording by Martin Geeson. Hero and Leander by Christopher Marlowe and George Chapman. Section 5. The second Sestiad, Part 2. Thereat smiled Neptune, and then told a tale, how that a shepherd, sitting in a vale, played with a boy so lovely, fair, and kind, as for his love both earth and heaven pined, that of the cooling river durst not drink, lest water nymphs should pull him from the brink. And when he sported in the fragrant lawns, goat-footed satyrs and upstaring fawns would steal him thence. Ere half his tale was done, "Ay me," Leander cried, "the enamoured sun, that now should shine on Thetis' glassy bower, descends upon my radiant hero's tower. Oh, that these tardy arms of mine were wings!" And as he spake, upon the waves he springs. Neptune was angry that he gave no ear, and in his heart revenging malice bare. He flung at him his mace, but as it went, he called it in, for love made him repent. The mace returning back, his own hand hit, as meaning to be venged for darting it. When this fresh bleeding wound Leander view'd, his colour went and came, as if he rued the grief which Neptune felt. In gentle breasts relenting thoughts, remorse, and pity rests. And who have hard hearts and obdurate minds, but vicious, hair-brained, and illiterate hinds? The god, seeing him with pity to be moved, thereon concluded that he was beloved. Love is too full of faith, too credulous, with folly and false hope deluding us. Wherefore, Leander's fancy to surprise, to the rich ocean for gifts he flies. 'Tis wisdom to give much, a guilt prevails when deep persuading oratory fails. By this, Leander being near the land, cast down his weary feet, and felt the sand. Breathless albeit he were, he rested not till to the solitary tower he got, and knocked and called, at which celestial noise the longing heart of Hero much more joys than nymphs and shepherds when the timbrel rings, or crooked dolphin when the sailor sings. She stayed not for her robes, but straight arose, and drunk with gladness to the door she goes, where seeing a naked man, she screeched for fear. Such sights as this to tender maids are rare, and ran into the dark herself to hide. Rich jewels in the dark are soonest spied. Unto her he was led, or rather drawn by those white limbs which sparkled through the lawn. The nearer that he came, the more she fled, and seeking refuge, slipped into her bed. Whereon Leander sitting, thus began, through numbing cold, all feeble, faint, and wan. If not for love, yet love for pity sake, me in thy bed and maiden bosom take. At least vouchsafe these arms some little room, who, hoping to embrace thee, cheerly swoon. This head was beat with many a churlish billow, and therefore let it rest upon thy pillow. Herewith affrighted, Hero shrunk away, and in her lukewarm place Leander lay, whose lively heat, like fire from heaven fet, would animate gross clay, and higher set the drooping thoughts of base declining souls, than dreary Mars carousing nectar bowls. His hands he cast upon her like a snare, she, overcome with shame and sallow fear, like chaste Diana when Actaeon spied her, being suddenly betrayed, dived down to hide her. And as her silver body downward went, with both her hands she made the bed a tent, and in her own mind thought herself secure, o'ercast with dim and darksome coverture. And now she lets him whisper in her ear, flatter, entreat, promise, protest, and swear. Yet ever, as he greedily assayed to touch those dainties, she the harpy played, and every limb did, as a soldier stout, defend the fort, and keep the foeman out. For though the rising ivory mount he scaled, which is with azure circling lines empaled, much like a globe may I term this by which love sails to regions full of bliss. Yet there with Sisyphus he toiled in vain, till gentle parley did the truce obtain. Even as a bird which in our hands we wring forth plungeth, and oft flutters with her wing, she trembling strove. This strife of hers, like that which made the world, another world begat of unknown joy. Treason was in her thought, and cunningly to yield herself she sought. Seeming not won, yet won she was at length. In such wars women use but half their strength. Leander now, like Theban Hercules, entered the orchard of the Hesperides, whose fruit none rightly can describe, but he that pulls or shakes it from the golden tree. Wherein Leander on her quivering breast breathless spoke something, and sighed out the rest, which so prevailed, as he with small ado enclosed her in his arms, and kissed her too, and every kiss to her was as a charm, and to Leander as a fresh alarm, so that the truce was broke, and she, alas, poor silly maiden, at his mercy was. Love is not full of pity, as men say, but deaf and cruel where he means to prey. And now she wished this night were never done, and sighed to think upon the approaching sun, for much it grieved her that the bright daylight should know the pleasure of this blessed night, and them, like Mars and Erycine, display both in each other's arms, chained as they lay. Again she knew not how to frame her look, or speak to him, who in a moment took that which so long, so charily she kept, and fain by stealth away she would have crept, and to some corner secretly have gone, leaving Leander in the bed alone. But as her naked feet were whipping out, he on the sudden cling'd her so about, that mermaid-like unto the floor she slid. One half appear'd, the other half was hid. Thus near the bed she, blushing, stood upright, and from her countenance behold ye might a kind of twilight break, which through the air, as from an orient cloud, glimpsed here and there, and round about the chamber this false morn brought forth the day, before the day was born. So Hero's ruddy cheek Hero betrayed, and her all naked to his sight displayed, whence his admiring eyes more pleasure took than Dis on heaps of gold fixing his look. By this Apollo's golden harp began to sound forth music to the Ocean, which watchful Hesperus no sooner heard, but he the bright day-bearing car prepared, and ran before as harbinger of light, and with his flaring beams mocked ugly night, till she, o'ercome with anguish, shame, and rage, dang'd down to hell her loathsome carriage. Here Marlowe's work ends. The rest of the poem is by Chapman. End of Section 5. Recording by Martin Geeson in Hazelmere, Surrey.